What's up, guys? It's your boy Zowoki back out with another scary, crazy, all-around paranormal video. But today's video is not going to be paranormal. It's going to be scary and crazy and creepy. It's going to be about the love that bites, which is vampires. We're going to be taking a look at the real cases and real footage that vampires actually exist. This is going to be a double feature because mostly a lot of these videos are definitely a little short and to the point. So we're going to be watching Slapped Ham and another channel called, what was it called? It was 50M, which I'm guessing is 50 mil videos. We're going to be taking a look at these where it states 5 real vampires that actually exist and 10 real vampires caught on camera and spotted in real life. So with that being said, what I want you guys to do is grab a chair, grab some popcorn, and of course grab that headset if you guys are wanting to hear a little bit more in depth on these videos. So let's take a look. If you guys are new to my channel, if you guys are returning and have not subscribed yet, make sure you guys subscribe down below by hitting that red bar icon down at the bottom right. Hit that notification bell icon next to it so when I do post videos like this one, you're going to get that little ring notification that Zowoki myself has posted that video. And then you guys can watch, comment, like, and share. And again, I say this on every video because I give thanks to you guys for all that you guys do in supporting this channel. We recently got to 10,000 subscribers. We're going even farther into the future with the new or the subscribers. I can't wait to see what the future holds. With that being said, with that being said, make sure you guys also check out the links in the description for Slapped Ham and 50M videos for these channels that we definitely enjoy, of compilations of ghosts, creepy, all-around terrifying creatures and so forth, including vampires. So with that being said, if you guys are not having a Valentine today, Happy Valentine's Day from Channel Zowoki. Hopefully you guys enjoy these vampires. I was trying to sit here and think what would be a great idea for Happy Valentine's Day for scariness, and lo and behold, I came across vampires. So we're going to be taking a look at the love bite, or the bite of love. I don't even remember how I said it, but we're going to be taking a look at the vampires right here, right now, if they do exist. If you guys think they do, make sure you guys comment down below. There's different forms of vampires. There's the ones that are Twilight. There's ones that are on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's ones in Marvel Universe where Blade hunts them down, blood-sucking fiends, and there's people that actually do participate in vampirism things, as you will. But let's take a look. So let's take a watch. So first is Slapped Hams.
How you doing? I'm Callan and this is Slapped
Hi, Callan.
Ham. Today we're talking about some really creepy vampire stories. From witnessed accounts of actual vampire attacks to whole towns plagued by the undead. Join us as we take a look at 5 real vampires that actually existed. And before we get into it, remember to hit that subscribe button for more creepy content just like this.
Of course.
In 1912, the US state of Louisiana was gripped by fear after a bizarre spate of murders. The victims were all found dismembered in their own home, but there was little to no blood present at the scene. After police efforts to catch the murderer proved futile, rumours began circulating that the culprit may actually be a vampire.
What?
After several more bodies were discovered, the locals pleaded with Father Henry Jante, a local Catholic priest, for help. Jante met with a local voodoo priest by the name of Moses Amashan, and together they decided to hunt the vampire. The two holy men set about mapping the crimes. They discovered that the murders seemed to follow the train line, leading them to believe that the person they were looking for might be
jumping on the train
by the railway. They began to monitor one particular station where they spotted a man neither had ever seen before. He was ghostly pale and appeared to have blood smeared on his clothing. Here's where the reports get even stranger.
What?
In an effort to learn the man's identity, it was said that the priests hunted down and destroyed several minions who confirmed that the man, August Delagrange, was indeed the head vampire they were looking for. The next night, the two men made their way to an isolated shack deep in the middle of the bayou. Delagrange was sleeping inside, presumed weak from lack of feeding. Jonte took a wooden stake and drove it straight into the heart of the beast.
Oh.
Jonte claims that Delagrange didn't make a sound, only opened his eyes wide and stared into the face of the priest before fading into hell. August Delagrange was believed to have murdered more than 40 people before he was staked by the priest. Today, his skeleton can be seen on display at the Vampire Museum located on the outskirts of the French Quarter in New Orleans.
What?
This photo here is of a small wooden box said to contain the vampire's heart, along with the wooden stake that killed him.
What? Get out of here. I want to see the skeleton.
In 1726, a man named Arnold Pale was reported to have become a vampire in the small Serbian town of Medwenja. According to reports compiled by several Austrian military doctors who were sent to investigate the case, Pale was said to have become a vampire after falling to his death from a hay wagon. The villagers said that Pale often claimed that he had been plagued by a vampire in his former homeland, but that he believed he had cured himself by eating soil from the vampire's grave and smearing himself with its blood.
Ew.
Shortly after Pale's death, members of the village began claiming to have been attacked by him. In each case, the witnesses mysteriously died just days later. When the local military heard of what was happening, they advised the villagers to open the suspected vampire's grave and examine the corpse. Despite being dead for 40 days, Pale's body was still intact and his veins contained fluid blood.
What?
His hair and beard had continued to grow and there was fresh blood in his mouth and on his shirt. The villagers concluded that Pale was indeed a vampire and drove a stake deep into his heart. As they did so, he's said to have let out a frightful shriek, groaning and bleeding. The villagers burned the body and then staked and burned the bodies of his four victims as well. About 5 years later, another spate of mysterious deaths began to plague the area. The locals believed that the first to die, a woman named Melitza, was to blame as she had once mentioned that she had eaten 2 sheep that had been killed by vampires. It was thought that those sheep were killed by the original vampire, Arnold Pale. Locals
5 years
began
later,
reporting that the deceased were attacking them in the middle of the night. One girl by the name of Stanoska claimed she had been strangled in her sleep by a boy that had died 9 weeks prior. She passed away just 3 days later.
The hell?
Households gathered together in the evenings, some members standing watch while others slept. The locals complained to the military, who sent an infectious disease specialist named Glaser to investigate. He found that many of the diseased showed no signs of decay.
See, I've seen these too, where the graves, they actually have cages over top of them because there were 2 scares, vampires and zombies. So they put these cages over top of them with weighted concrete so they were never able to get out, which was funny because wouldn't they be able to just dig on the outside of these cages? But this is where they first started with these, and then apparently the vaults that we have now are supposed to keep them from getting water or bugs or anything like that, but the word is that they actually are keeping us from vampirism or zombies. I mean, that's what they think, but that's what you guys see right here.
Decomposition, and some even had fresh blood in their mouths. He compiled a report recommending that the authorities should pacify the population by fulfilling its request to execute the vampires. Shortly after, a second commission consisting of 3 military surgeons, one of whom was Dr. Johann Flukinger, as well as several other military officers who were sent to investigate.
Need to get Van Helsing.
They too found that several of the older bodies had not decayed and their chests and other organs were filled with fresh blood.
What the
surgeons
frick?
summarized their findings by stating that the bodies were indeed in vampiric condition. The suspected vampires had their heads cut off and their bodies burned. The others were reburied in their graves. The amazing thing about this case is that it's been reported on by so many experts. The disease specialist, Glasser, even sent the details of his findings to his father, also a doctor and a correspondent of a prominent Nuremberg journal. He wrote a letter to the journal detailing the case, and the reports of both Glasser and Flukinger were reprinted in several articles. Could this small Serbian town have actually been plagued by vampires? Or did all these experts somehow get their reports wrong? Let us know what you think in the comments section below.
For information,
In 1954, it was reported that a mysterious 7-foot-tall vampire with iron teeth was terrorizing the residents in the Gorbals district of Glasgow, Scotland. After the vampire was said to have killed 2 young boys in the area, hundreds of school children descended on the local cemetery. Armed with knives and wooden stakes, the children searched the graveyard for the vampire.
Oh boy.
Even the police were powerless to stop the children, who only left the cemetery after it began to rain heavily. They continued their search for the elusive vampire for the next 2 nights.
Nothing.
The story made headlines all around the world. Soon the whole country was in the grip of a full-blown vampire panic.
Jeez.
Local parliamentarians believed that the source
Here we're in a COVID pandemic and these guys are in a vampire pandemic.
of the bizarre rumors could be traced back to a popular American comic book of the time. As a result, they championed the 1955 Children and Young Persons Harmful Publications Act, which was eventually passed. The act, which still stands today, prohibits comics that are believed to be harmful to children.
What?
While it was never clear whether or not the children ever found the vampire, several of those who descended on the cemetery in 1954 can still recall the bizarre tale. One vampire hunter, Ronnie Sanderson, said, "I was there, I was in the graveyard when I was 8 years old. I've been telling my wife about the vampire for years and she's never believed me."
Holy crap.
First published in 1746, the treatise on the apparitions of spirits and on vampires, or revenants of Hungary, was an extensive investigation into the paranormal written by Benedictine monk Anton Augustin Kelmet. The book covered all manner of the supernatural, from angels, demons and ghosts to witchcraft and sorcery. The work analysed accounts of the various topics from mythology and folklore, as well as the Bible and historically documented accounts. It was divided into 3 tomes, the second of which contains 63 chapters, all dedicated to vampires and the undead.
Holy crap.
One documented account was that of a soldier who, in 1730, was lodging at a peasant's house in Hungary.
He's got a teeth
The
problem.
soldier claimed that he was sitting with a homeowner and his family for dinner when a man that he didn't know entered the house and sat down. The soldier noticed that the homeowner appeared to be fearful of the unknown dinner guest. The next morning, the homeowner was discovered dead. The family told the soldier that the strange man that sat at the table the night before was actually the father of the homeowner, who had been dead for more than 10 years.
Ooh.
The soldier informed his regiment and the army began to investigate. The captain of the infantry, along with several officers and a surgeon, interviewed members of the man's family, along with other residents of the village. The accounts matched those of the soldier, and the father's corpse was exhumed. They found that the father, although dead for more than 10 years, still had the blood flow of a living man.
That's
The
nuts!
captain ordered his head to be cut off and his remains reburied in the tomb. Sometime later, the same captain received information that another man who had been dead for more than 30 years returned to his family's home on 3 separate occasions. Each
I'm
time
just
he was
stopping
said to
in.
have sucked the blood of one of the members of the house.
What the
Firstly
frick?
his brother, then son, and finally a servant. All 3 men were reported to have died immediately after being attacked. Once again, the man was suspected of being a vampire and his corpse was exhumed. Just like the previous case, the man's body was found to have a living blood flow, despite the
That's
fact that he had been dead
nuts.
for more than 30 years. The captain ordered
How
a
the
large nail to
frick?
be driven through the man's temple and his corpse placed back into the grave.
Ow. That's nuts. 30 years later and it still has fresh blood
Before
in
we
it.
get to the number 1 spot and learn about a famous vampire case that was reported in the media just a
Dracula.
few decades ago, remember to hit that subscribe button and
Decades?
turn on channel notifications. That way you'll be up to date with all our latest content. This photo, taken sometime between the late 1960s and early 70s, was captured in the Highgate Cemetery, London. The dark-robed figure in the centre of the image is believed by many to be a king vampire of the undead, said to have been a Romanian nobleman brought to London by his devoted followers. In 1970, sightings of the vampire grew. On Friday the 13th of March, 2 men, Sean Manchester and David Ferrant, vowed to find and destroy the evil creature. The media reported the story, and within 2 hours a mob of hunters from all over London began swarming over the locked gates of the cemetery to confront the beast.
Holy crap.
Manchester claimed he led a group to one particular catacomb where they managed to climb inside through a hole in the roof. He said they opened several coffins and placed garlic and holy water inside. Some months later, the charred and headless corpse of a woman was found near the catacomb that Manchester said he had entered. Ferrant was arrested soon after in the churchyard next to Highgate Cemetery, carrying a crucifix and a wooden stake. Shortly after Front was arrested, Manchester and his group returned to the cemetery. This time they forced open the doors to another family vault where they believed the coffin of the vampire had been moved to. Just as Manchester was about to stake the body inside, he was persuaded to leave the vault by several members of the group. 3 years later, Manchester claimed he again encountered the same corpse. This time it was in the cellar of an abandoned house in the Highgate area. Believing it had to be the vampire he was searching for, he staked and burned the body. While mysterious sightings are still reported at the Highgate Cemetery to this day, no one knows for sure if the king vampire of the undead still lurks within the grounds.
That's so creepy.
Was this cemetery actually home to a real vampire? Was the beast destroyed, or could it still lie waiting in a sinister slumber, soon to awake and take its next victim?
Well, that's the end of another episode.
And here is the 5M videos, or 50M videos.
Walk among us, and anyone around you could be one, because they look exactly like humans
Oh,
and
hell.
live a normal life. They aren't necessarily looking to be found, but some brave people have recorded them on their phones. Here are 10 real vampires caught on
Get
camera
outta
and
here.
spotted in real life. Number 10, caught on a security cam in a store. If you are a fan of vampires, you probably know that mirrors and vampires don't really get along.
They don't show
They
up.
can suck blood, take out wings from their bodies, and even have scary teeth, but they cannot see themselves in the mirror. According to popular myths, that is because the mirror reflects the soul. And because vampires don't really have a soul,
It
there's
doesn't
nothing
show
to
up.
be reflected. Another theory says that vampires are transparent and light passes through them. So if they stand in front of a mirror, there is no reflection because the light is just passing through. What a tragedy to not be able to take a mirror selfie. In this video, you can see a vampire that was caught on a security camera. At the start, everything looks okay and nothing seems
see
wrong
her.
with the video. But as you watch, you see people start
See him.
going out of the store.
And
the
him.
first person that walks out
And
is
him.
reflected in the huge mirror mounted on the wall. Even the woman sitting is reflected. But when a man in black dress, who already looks suspicious the way he is walking, walks past the mirror, there is no reflection.
Oh, the
See for
frick.
yourself.
What?
This was definitely a vampire in real life, maybe going after the guy who first walked out. No one in the store even noticed that there was a vampire among them. That is how common their occurrences can be.
The woman's on the phone. She can't pay attention.
I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete.
Number 9, sighting in the woods. Vampires indeed exist
Twilight.
among us, but some of their colonies are in remote areas, like forests, where humans don't annoy or irritate them much. But that doesn't mean that they get to live a peaceful life there without having to have some type of interaction with humans. This video, which was recorded in 2006, shows 2 friends hiking in the woods.
Oh, gosh.
They are first normally walking and talking, possibly about the existence of vampires, when one of them notices a very weird thing nearby. He flashes it with his flashlight and gets the shock of his life when he notices an actual vampire in real life.
Get out of
A
here.
pale-looking man with pointy teeth crouching on the forest floor could only be a vampire. He is only a few feet away from the camera and looks as if it is about to attack the 2 hikers. When one guy snaps a branch to get his attention, the vampire looks up, and that is it for the 2 guys, who start running as fast as they can to avoid becoming the vampire's next meal. We doubt they could outrun something that could actually fly. How dumb can humans be? Number 8, sighting on the
Oh, I
road
wanted
in
to
the
see it
middle of the
more.
night. This clip will definitely give you the creeps. Vampires can not only fly or grow huge teeth, but they can also teleport themselves or become invisible. This is another ability that helps them from getting caught by humans and becoming their next meal. A man can be seen riding on a motorbike in this video when he notices a woman standing in the middle of the road for a split second before vanishing. He becomes
What the
suspicious
hell?
and stops to see what is up. He parks his bike in the middle of the road and gets off. As soon as he turns the bike off, he sees the woman, dressed in all white, appearing out of nowhere in the middle of the road. The video is so scary, we cannot even tell how scared the guy must have been when he was actually there. He runs away as fast as he can, leaving his bike where it was. Many people believe that it's a fake video, but we highly doubt that. What do you guys
I
think?
mean, it could be fake.
Number 7,
Oh,
Russian
no.
vampire attack. If the clip of the vampire not being reflected in the mirror didn't get much of your attention, this definitely will. Russians are already aggressive people, so imagine how a Russian vampire would react if he went to file his taxes, but the person at the counter said the date was overdue. This human look-alike vampire seems like he is very angry with the office people. He first throws files at the employee, and when another person tries to stop him, he smashes his head in the table, breaking it in half. The table, not the head. Until now, everyone in the office thinks he is just a normal, angry human, but everything suddenly gets much more sinister when the large guy lifts another person off his feet and takes him up into the air. It is confirmed that the violent person is actually a vampire when the woman recording the video turns toward a mirror and it shows just one guy floating in the air, showing no sign of reflection of the large man.
Or is it just good video
Many
editing?
people commented that this video could easily be staged, but what do you guys think? Number 6.
I wanted to
the
see it!
Vampire Grave.
Oh, man.
In 2014, an archaeologist in Bulgaria was said to have unearthed a vampire grave containing a skeleton with a metal stake in its chest. Nikolai Ovcharov, who's been called the Bulgarian Indiana Jones, said the spooky grave was found during excavations at the ruins of the ancient Thracian city of Perperikon in southern Bulgaria. The grave was from the 13th century, and it is believed that stakes were driven through the corpses of bad people to prevent them from rising from their graves and haunting the living.
Wow.
According to a BBC report, at least 100 vampire graves have been found in Bulgaria to date. So if you want to find a vampire or live among them, it is time to move to Bulgaria.
That's
Number 5,
nuts.
a real vampire in a girl's room.
Oh boy. Twilight?
This video was uploaded on YouTube, and after a while, it started circulating on the internet as people started noticing it and studying it more. No one has been able to prove if the video is fake or real, even now, because it gives a mixed feeling. Watch for yourself. In the video, you can see a little girl busy with her homework. She hears some weird noises, but doesn't know what it really is and continues studying like a good little girl. But she is not ready for the next thing that is about to happen. Suddenly, without her knowing anything, a black hand crawls out from under what seems like a bed and grabs her. It doesn't really look like a human's hand, and as you can see, the kid vanishes instantly without leaving a trace, or even crying. People say that it was a vampire who grabbed and pulled the kid, and no one ever saw the kid again. Do you think this video is real?
I don't know.
Vampire in the hotel room.
Oy.
The exotic video was filmed on a hidden camera in a hotel room, but it turned out to be much more sinister than what it was supposed to be. A girl can be seen lying on a bed when a guy arrives and they start doing things.
Oh
But
yeah.
the video
Valentine's
isn't
Day
what you
thing.
think it is. As they continue, the girl gets on top of the guy,
Oh.
and that is probably the last thing the guy saw before dying. The woman suddenly takes her wings out and bites the guy, which would be a normal thing in this situation, but she starts sucking the blood out of him while he screams and tries to shake her off of him.
That's
But
not
all in
foreplay.
vain, and she ends up killing him.
Oh gosh.
Number 3, vampire versus cat.
Versus
This
a cat.
clip starts pretty usually as it shows a woman filming a little kid and a few guys in their backyard. Everything seems normal until she turns the camera toward one guy who can be seen killing the cat he is holding in his arms. The girl suddenly starts screaming to alert the other people around her that the guy is biting the cat's neck and sucking its blood. It's a real video, and as you can see the blood coming out of the cat, too.
What?
Poor cat.
Poor
With
kitty.
that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick.
Okay.
Today's photo was sent to us
Oi.
by a subscriber. If you come across
That could
the
be
photo
fake,
online
though.
and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it on a future video. Number 2.
Hi.
This looks like a picture of a real vampire going after a woman who is unaware that it might just be her last day on
She's
Earth.
about to be a snack.
This video doesn't seem to exist on the internet anymore, but it looks pretty real to us. The guy is also in human clothes, which shows that vampires do exist among us, waiting for the right moment to suck the blood
What is
and
this,
life
Underworld?
out of us. Number 1,
Who?
real vampire.
Oh no thanks. Arr, 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 arr.
Normally, vampires are afraid of people finding out about them, so they stay hidden from humans all their lives. But there is one guy on the internet who claims to be a real vampire, and he demonstrates his abilities live on camera in
What?
front of many viewers.
Get out of
This
here.
clip was recorded by the guy's brother, and it shows his teeth growing pointy out of nowhere. Another video also shows his movements that look exactly like that of a vampire, as his eyes turn completely white and his teeth start growing too. What do you think? Is this video real or fake? Have you ever witnessed a vampire in real life?
No.
Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
I'm pretty sure if they've came across the vampire, they're not going to be in the comments. They're going to be in pieces or their blood sucked dry. So, but obviously comment down below what you guys think when it comes to the real vampires. Do you think they exist? Do you think there is some form of vampirism where they sucked blood, but they weren't super humanist, like hero strength, as you will? Comment down below what you guys think. I surely want to know your guys' theories and your opinions about the vampires, and if they're like Buffy's vampires or Twilight's vampires or whatever have you. I want to know. Of course, like the video for all things creepy, scary, and paranormal. And of course, the channel Zowoki. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and like, and we'll see you guys in the next video. So keep it real, keep it safe, and as always, keep nerding on, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.